Good morning and welcome back to Grindhouse, where we drink coffee and talk about movies. My name is Shawn and today with my girlfriend and co-host Leah Diana,
Sup?
we will be winding back the reel to 1978. A former CIA agent uses the talents of a young psychic to help retrieve his telekinetic son from terrorists who want to use his mental powers for evil in The Fury. Let's get into it.
I won. What do you mean you won? You did not.
There are no secrets between father and son,
Come on, Dad. You saw it.
except
You got away.
one.
You have a talent that would shock the hell out of people. But it's a talent that also can be put to good use.
For lovers of the shocking, the suspenseful, and the terrifying comes a new classic, The Fury.
Read my mind. Look, I don't know anything about reading minds, all right?
The Fury, an experience in terror and suspense.
They took my son away from me. They needed him, so they just took him.
What the hell have you done to that boy?
Oh, he's being treated like a prince. He is. He's royalty. Unique. Chinese don't have one. Soviets don't have one. In all the world, there's no one quite like Robin Sansa. Unless it's this girl.
Who's Robin Sansa? He's a boy your age, with powers like yours.
Powers that build and build until they become the Fury.
I want Gillian Belliver at the PSI facility tomorrow.
It's a frightening power these people have. They can make anybody disappear anytime.
She's a fake. I'm sending her home. I don't have time to waste on people. Don't do that to me, Doctor. Don't ever try lying to me.
Gillian? Where's Robin now, Gillian?
What's the matter, Robin?
You know what's the matter.
Stop, Gillian!
That girl's taking my place after you poisoned me.
Oh.
The Fury is the power that holds the key to all power.
Peter, I was lying before. Robin's not okay. He needs us now.
For lovers of the shocking,
Robin,
the suspenseful,
Please answer me.
and the terrifying comes a new classic. 20th Century Fox presents a Frank Yablon's presentation,
Don't you recognize your old man?
The Fury. The Fury, a Brian DePalma film, an experience in terror and suspense.
Spread the word, you dirty cocksuckers. Tell all your grave robbing friends I want them out of the city now!
The nightmare of insane murder. From the depths of hell. Screaming angel of death. Only at the Grindhouse.
Schwanathan Lane.
Yeah, buddy.
Thought it was going to be a different response. Did Kirk motherfucking panty dropping Douglas make you drop your panties?
Fuck yeah.
It's because you're wearing your pajamas right now, isn't it?
That's right.
Yep, that's right. Oh boy. So prior to this, I did not know that Mr. Kirk, motherfucking panty dropping, Douglas, passed away at the ripe old age of 103.
Yeah, this man had a illustriously long career
Lucrative.
and quite the life.
Fathered Michael Douglas, who was a very, very pretty good actor. I've not really watched a lot of his stuff. But yeah, I've not seen a lot of telekinetic movies. The only one that I've seen, and I said I was going to research this, is Matilda. Matilda is a actual decent telekinetic movie. I've never seen Carrie, ever. The remake or the Sissy Spacek one.
Crying shame.
Because I was afraid that all Stephen King movies are just shitty sci-fi movies for a rainy Saturday afternoon with half-cooked chili that your mom decided, hey, I have stuff in the fridge, I'll just put it in a pot.
No, the telekinetic subgenre is one that's been around for quite a long time. People have been making movies that dabble with it, that focus on it, explore it in different ways. There are versions that aren't so much telekinetic, but there's like pyrokinesis and all these other different types of mental
powers.
How would you put it? Mentally enhanced individuals.
And the most famous one that people know right now would be the Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, in a way.
Like the most mainstream one right now.
That's going to bring us to a slight tangent.
Oh God,
because,
no, don't comic book me.
No.
Just agree with me on this.
See, Scarlet Witch, I would not consider a telekinetic person.
I'm going by Marvel Cinematic Universe, not comic book universe.
Even in the MCU, because her ability
came from the Mind Stone. No, not the Mind Stone.
No, well, her ability is to manipulate reality. She's not a telekinetic in any way. Somebody who would be somebody like Jean Grey.
I was going to say Jean Grey's the next one.
Professor X. Like he's a telepath, not a telekinetic, but Jean Grey is both. So she would probably be the best example of a modern telekinetic that a lot of people would know.
Now, what about Chris Angel Mind Freak? Would he be a telekinetic?
No, he's a fraud.
Oh, you hear that, Chris Angel? We're coming for you.
That's right. Shots fired, Chris.
Pew, 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 pew.
Mind Freak. I'll never be ready.
Just screamo music against the biggest poser you'll ever see. I don't know who's worse, him or Zach Bagans. I love Ghost Adventures. I love Aaron Goodwin. I love Jay. I forget Jay's last name. But Zach Bagans, over the last several decade of his career, has gotten just insane. It's insane.
I would do just about anything to witness a fight between Zach Bagans and Chris Angel.
Tonight, on a very special Ghost Adventures.
I want to see who's the bigger fraud.
Oh God, but it has to be live. Live, like the really shitty Halloween live they did at the Haunted Museum, where everything went wrong and they just fucked up the whole thing. And I'm still a guilty pleasure fan. I am caught up on all of the seasons. Why? Because that's one show that I just enjoy laughing at. And you know why I enjoy laughing at it? Because you ruined me for any kind of ghost show.
It's so bad.
You ruined me. I used to be like, I'm a believer. Now I'm like, Shawn, explain this to me and I'm gonna fucking kill him. I hate you so much. I don't.
Sorry.
But anyways, going back to telekinetic powers. Let's get into this.
Well, this is a subgenre that I've really liked for a long time. Like, I always thought Carrie was such an awesome movie, and things like Firestarter, and all these movies like where these people have these mental abilities, like they can move things with their mind, or they can they get visions of the future, things like that. And I just think it's something you can do a lot with. It's an idea you can explore to so many degrees, and even though there's a lot of these movies, they're in the overall spectrum of filmmaking, there has not been very many.
So now I have a question for you. You said you like people that see visions, those kind of movies too, premonition movies.
Yeah, some of them.
How do you feel about the television series That's So Raven?
See, that I get what they were doing with that, but it was like, it's so fucking cheeseball.
But it's campy, it's Disney, it's cheesy. That, like, it is Velveeta. It's not quite Family Styled Velveeta cheese, but it is like one of those microwavable Velveeta things where you're like,
yeah, but
it's all right.
So little of that actually had to do with her ability. Like
it was just the awkward things that happened.
They would just use the ability as like a crutch to get them into different situations. So it'd be like, oh, I had a vision that this is going to happen, and then nothing would ever be connected.
I mean, in the beginning they tried, and then it just got a little fucking crazy. But that's the only like mind power one that I really remember. I don't know of any other ones.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of different ones, like for example, something like Eyes of Laura Mars.
Okay.
Where she's mentally connected to the killer, so she's able to see through his eyes as he kills people.
Did we ever find out why they were connected?
No. And often you don't in those types of movies.
That's why I hate those type of movies. I want to know. Tell me.
Well, but sometimes it's just a supernatural occurrence. And I don't know, I always thought you could do a lot with these types of ideas. And a lot of people don't do very much with them. It's very rare that we get them now. Like, yeah. I think the latest ones I can think of are Malignant and...
Which we haven't seen.
And The Mind's Eye. I think those are the most recent ones.
Which I laughed at the end of the last episode. You were like, oh, these are the ones I'm thinking of. And then I looked it up and I'm like... After we cut, I'm like, you forgot the biggest one and you fucking worked on it. The Mind's Eye.
Well, to be fair, when I was trying to list them, I was trying to list classic telekinesis
Actually
movies.
Good movies?
Ooh, shots fired.
Okay, I've watched it.
See,
it's not a bad movie, but no. Jesus Christ, the places they go.
I like Mind's Eye for what it is.
But when I watched that one, I was like, okay, this is good. What are they doing? Jesus Christ, what's happening to that lady? I mean, or is that the other one? What was the other one you worked on with Josh and...
Almost Human.
Was that the vagina monster? Almost Human was the vagina monster?
Yeah, the tentacle thing, yeah.
Dude, that scene was fucked. Anyways, before we go on a tangent of other movies, why don't we tackle this one?
Well, I would definitely like to tackle this one.
Uh-oh.
However... we first got to talk a little bit about our sponsor.
Who is our sponsor this week?
None other than Pete's Coffee.
Pete, my good old buddy.
Pete's Coffee, our household coffee of choice.
We just bought, what one did we buy last? We bought the dark roast last, right?
Currently we're still working through, Big Bang.
Big Bang.
Is there... It's that's a medium roast flavor.
Medium roast. I'm sorry. I'm terrible.
And this one, I have to say, I'm still very happy with it. I think this is, actually, I like it a little bit more than the Major Dickinson's blend.
Have you noticed there's a smoky note at the end of this one?
There is.
It's interesting. Because I take mine with, zero sugar sweeteners in it. So, it's January, still working through the pumpkin spice. But I can taste, it's that cinnamony nutmeg, that nice, roasted coffee flavor. And there's this smoke at the end. And I'm like, where is this coming from, Pete?
Yeah, this one's, it's bold, it's smooth, it's got a nice... balanced richness to it.
It's comforting. That first sip of hot coffee in the morning, and it's like, oh.
I'm very much enjoying it, and as we've said before, we like to grind our own beans, so we buy it in whole bean, but it actually comes in ground. You can get it in K-cups even if you're an instant coffee drinker, which... No,
we are Chemex pour-over snobs in this house. You wouldn't think that when looking at us, but we are Chemex pour-over snobs.
I feel like over the years we're just turning more and more into hipsters.
We are leaning so heavily into hipster that I purchased an outfit recently that literally looks like someone copy and pasted me from the fucking Goldbergs. And I have the big old lady glasses to go with it. And I have my short haircut with the little bob. And I looked at myself in the mirror and went, wow, I'm a 1980s mom about ready to take her kids to soccer practice. But I gotta have my Pete's Coffee and my travel mug before I take the kids there.
Yeah, I really can't go a morning without Pete's at this point. And if you're a coffee drinker, if you are just looking to try different types of coffee, I can't recommend Pete's more. And if you use the link down in our show notes, if you use our affiliate link, yes, it is an affiliate link. We earn a little something off of it if you make a purchase. You can get yourself 30% off of a new subscription plan.
Ooh.
You just follow that link, use promo code NEWSUB30 at checkout. You get yourself 30% off, and with their subscription plans, they allow you to choose different types of coffee every month to try out and see which ones you like, see which ones fit your needs.
And what better way to scratch an item off of your list from going to the grocery store on the weekend after you're exhausted from working all week than have your coffee delivered to your door, whole bean or ground, so you can have it that morning and tackle your motherfucking day like Kirk motherfucking panty dropping Douglas. I bet you he'd drink Pete's coffee.
I bet you he would.
I bet you he would.
But we'll never know because he's not with us anymore.
Excuse me, Kirk. I am using my crystals. I'm trying to contact you from the great beyond. Oh, panty dropper. We'll tell you why we call him panty dropper later. Do you drink Pete's coffee? Bitch, let me sleep. I'm dead. You heard it here first. Kirk Douglas hates me. Gotta go, bye.
Alright, so this week, as we said, we watched The Fury, the 1978 American supernatural thriller. This film was directed by the infamous Brian DePalma. Yes, the same Brian DePalma who brought us Carrie. I guess he caught the flavor of that telekinetic storytelling and he just wanted more. This one was based on The Fury by John Farris, who also wrote the screenplay for the film.
Okay.
It stars Kirk motherfucking Douglas.
You missed the panty dropping.
I apologize, let me reiterate. It stars Kirk motherfucking panty dropping Douglas.
Yes! It's gonna be a thing.
John Cassavetes, Amy Irving, Carrie Snodgrass, Charles Durning, and Andrew Stevens. This was originally released March 10th, 1978. It was made on a budget of $7.5 million, and it brought in a box office return of $24 million.
So it was a success.
It was I would call it a modest success.
Yeah. So I did not do a breakdown of this movie. I enjoyed the ride. I only have a few notes. So you're going to have to explain this one.
That's okay. I can take the reins on most of this one. This is a film I quite enjoy. It's actually, I'll be upfront and say that this is actually one of my favorite telekinetic films.
Okay.
Out of all the ones that I've seen, this is one of my favorites. This is a fairly slow start. Like this movie, this movie is kind of a slow burn most of the way through. It's got some parts that ramp up the action a little bit, but as you know by now, I love a good slow burn. I like that ease through the story where it just kind of takes its time to build up the tension, the characters, just lets the information come to you. It doesn't try to shove it down your fucking throat within 5 minutes.
Yeah, and I'm the person putting gasoline on the story. Let's go! I hate slow burns. Hate them.
Come on.
No. Give me the info. I want the info.
We watched the film today from our VHS copy.
Yes.
Which is... We don't have the original release, unfortunately.
No, we will find it someday.
Ours is the 20th Century Fox Selections release.
Which we found out at the beginning of the film was only $10 when they came out with these selects. Like,
yes,
who cares?
These were supposed to be like their bargain bin, cheap $10 tapes.
That's insulting to this movie.
It is insulting because this movie is fucking awesome.
This was a good movie.
I very much enjoy this one every time I watch it. The performances in it are fucking great. But since we're talking about the tape, let's do the back of the box.
It's the back of the box. I don't know why I'm trying to put theme songs to half of our shit, but just let it happen.
So this back of the box starts with a quote. A triumph. Something exciting or suspenseful is happening in every fast-moving sequence. This was said by Kevin Thomas of Los Angeles Times. There are no fast-moving sequences in this movie, really.
No, the beginning.
Yeah, I guess the beginning's pretty
fast sequence
pretty
right there.
quick. And then we actually we actually move on to a fun fact before the descriptor here.
Ooh.
Which is, for her role as a psychic with telekinetic powers, Amy Irving attended a biofeedback clinic to learn about different levels of consciousness. After personally experiencing psychic changes, she had a better sense of how her character could transmit and receive messages. That's kind of interesting that she actually took that extra step.
Like, I believe in a lot of this stuff. I really do. But sometimes I'm sitting here going, when science and, like, the supernatural type stuff like this, like, fuse, it sort of concerns me.
Just a little.
Because what if someday they fucking 11 Stranger Things this shit?
Unlock the rest of the human mind.
Oh my god, don't. Please let me be ignorant. I don't want to unlock this shit. Imagine how much more pain I'd feel if my head was unlocked.
Oh. Maybe you'd be able to turn it off.
Oh, that'd be grand. Just be like, click, and it's over.
All right. In Brian DePalma's terrifying horror thriller, an elaborate game of mind control begins when a government agent, Kirk Douglas's son, Andrew Stevens, is kidnapped for his psychokinetic powers. Desperate to find him, the father hires a girl, Amy Irving, with similar psychic abilities. She soon reveals that his son is a prisoner at a secret U.S. agency where he's being used for dangerous mind experiments and programmed for elimination.
I think that description is
There's like
a half-truth, half-lie.
There's some lies in there for
There's
sure.
a lot of fucking reaching. He hires her? No.
No, he finds her.
He doesn't find her. He doesn't even fucking know about her until his girlfriend says something casually.
That's not true. He finds out about her at the very beginning when he has that guy following her. The creepy guy who's following her when she's walking with her friend.
Well, no, he doesn't have him follow her. He was sending out telekinetic messages like he had telekinetic messages.
That guy did.
Okay, so he found her, but
he hired that guy to find somebody that could help him find his son.
But he never hired her.
But he learned about this girl through that encounter because that's who he's calling on the phone. He's talking to Kirk Douglas.
It's a stretch.
It's true. That's what they
true,
said.
But he hired her, and he found out that his son's being kept. Like, so much of this, the descriptions, I hate descriptions on the back of the box sometimes because they either tell you nothing and it's amazing,
or they flat out lie.
Give you the whole. They gave the whole thing, but
basically
half truth.
Yeah, and honestly, that's kind of why I like doing the back of the box because most of the time it's very different than what the movie actually is.
What lies did Hollywood tell today?
Yeah, and it's worth noting that our tape is in somewhat disrepair.
Yeah.
So while watching this, we had to deal with like quite a lot of artifacting and
like. You know when you were a kid and the Disney tape would be like, coming soon to video. The top of that was doing the little wave thing.
Yeah,
and it wasn't
the
distracting.
Tape is warping.
It wasn't too bad because there were parts of the tape where it was fine. But right in the beginning, man, the whole beginning of it was like the whole top of the tape was going, I'm in a windstorm. See you later. Like, I was like, oh, shit, I hope this clears up. It does. It clears up by like the middle.
Yeah, and this is stuff we've talked about before, but like I personally always love
it.
Looking at the damage
because it reminds you of when you were a kid. Because you see that damage, you're like, oh no, my dad's gonna kill me. I did something in the VCR. Now you're like, trauma. Such memories.
And it's also kind of cool with like a film like this. There's layers to it. So like, not only are you seeing the damage of the VHS itself, but this is very obviously a transfer from a film reel that was played in theaters.
Yeah.
Because you can see the cigarette burns at certain points when they had to change the reel.
Yep.
So you'd see those like quick blips pop up and it's like, oh, that's where the reel change was. That's where the reel change was.
Why are there cigarette burns on the reel change?
Oh, you don't know?
No.
Well, so, all right. Cigarette burns were a thing that's what they called them because that's kind of what they look like.
Okay.
But it was just a marker that was placed on the film reels so a movie would come in and it'd be like 4 to 6 reels or so for the whole film.
Yeah.
So they were essentially these markers that were on the films for the projectionists.
Yeah.
So when that marker popped up, they would know, all right, we got to get ready to switch over to the next reel. And they'd have 2 projectors going back to back.
Oh.
So it'd be like, they would watch the movie with the audience, and as soon as that marker popped up, they would go, okay, switch to the next reel, take out this reel and swap it.
You wwouldn't see the projectors
the handoff.
change?
No, because projectors flicker. So you wouldn't even notice it. That and when they start the second projector, it would essentially overlap the other film, like almost like perfectly.
Oh, okay.
So like then you'd shut off the other one and you'd never notice that the image stopped.
Damn.
It was a seamless handoff.
We live in the wrong time, man. Everything's fucking digital. You just press a button and there it is.
Yeah, everything's a digital file in movie theaters now.
Were they doing that back when we were kids in like the 90s?
Yeah, they were still doing it.
They were still doing it? Damn.
I think the cigarette burn thing kind of went away and they had a different way of doing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was... And eventually the film reels, like, I think got narrowed down, so it was like four reels became 2, 2 became 1. Like,
how many reels would Avengers Endgame be if it came out in the 70s?
I couldn't even fucking imagine.
Can you imagine? Like, here's a box of 25. It's 3 hours long, kids.
We got a shipment. It's The Van.
Oh, God. No, The Van is James Cameron movies.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Fucking James Cameron. Right now, you're on my shit list, buddy.
Look, let it go.
No. James Cameron is a stuck-up, full of himself old man who just likes telling Pocahontas tales and likes sinking ships. Welcome to Starting a Fight with Leah.
That's alright. Most people don't know what they're talking about. It's fine.
Whoa! Shots fired there, Jay Bittenbinder. It's just for you, Red Letter fan.
Dropped a fucking JJ Bittenbinder reference.
Oh, JJ Bittenbinder. Oh, this is why I'm a failure. Alright,
so something I'd like to mention before we dive into the breakdown of the movie.
Slow burn.
Kirk Douglas is a fucking boss throughout this whole movie. Like, literally within the first 5 minutes of seeing him on screen, he's jumping out windows.
He's
and
in the tiniest fucking short shorts from the 70s, evading fucking people shooting at him. And then the motherfucker gets in a boat, gets blown up, and then shoots the fuck out of his friend's arm. And all while he's doing this, he's still got that smug fucking look. And you're thinking to yourself, this is the 70s. So Kirk Douglas has to be like in his 60s or 70s at this point.
Yeah, I honestly don't know how old he was.
Hang on.
During this
What year was Kirk Douglas born in? Let's do some research. You go into it and I'll get some
Alright, so diving into the film. So we open this movie. While you're watching it, it just says Mid-East, but it's supposed to be Israel.
It's supposed to be Middle East.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Where we meet ex-CIA. So we open this movie in what we saw, the title said Mid-East, but it's, I guess, supposed to be Israel.
Like the Middle East, yeah.
Yeah. And we meet ex-CIA agent Peter Sansa, which is Kirk Douglas, and his psychic son, Robin. They're essentially on vacation, what it looks like. They're kind of hanging out at this...
I think they were living there. I think they've been living there.
Oh, yeah, because he mentions that they're going to be moving back to the States.
Yep.
All right, so they're just kind of having a good day at the beach. They're hanging
Robin's
out.
like, oh, what if I don't fit in? I don't like sports. Like, I'm going to miss it here. And I'm like, wow.
I mean, life is different for everybody, so it kind of...
it's very true. I mean, they have soccer over there, or football.
Yeah. And in this scene, we also meet a character by the name of Ben Childress, who is Peter's old agency colleague. And I'm not entirely sure why he is there. I think he's just kind of dropping by to say goodbye before they leave.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. They're planning to leave his old life behind. He's getting out of the business, and they want to go back to the U.S.
to
settle down. But we see that Childress kind of objects to this. Like, he thinks he doesn't think he should go.
Yeah.
Essentially. And he subsequently stages a terrorist attack to cover up kidnapping Robin.
To steal him for his psychic abilities.
Yes. Now, throughout this attack, Peter is essentially, he's driven out, like he gets on a boat, like you said, he drives out into the middle of the water. They blow up the boat, and Robin witnesses this whole thing.
And Ben Childress is holding him there to make him watch this whole thing.
Yes.
Like, holy shit, if you're going to kidnap the kid, take him.
I mean, the way the scene plays out, though, he's doing it as like, Robin's trying to go help his dad, but Childress is holding him back, and he's just like, no, he can handle it. And instead of getting him out of there sooner, he kind of just makes him watch the whole thing.
But he's a sicko and makes him watch his dad get killed, basically.
Yeah, and that's a fact that we learn throughout every line of dialogue that Childress speaks. Like, this man is a fucking sleazy
psychopath.
Shithead.
Oh my god. Did he remind you of, oh my god. He was in Mad About You. Paul Reisner. Did he remind you of like a much fit Paul Reisner? Taller, more handsome, kind of like...
Yeah, honestly, he reminded me more of a Dr. Hill from Reanimator. The head in the dish.
Oh, no, I just went right to the head going for her crotch. That's where my mind went. Thanks.
Oh yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
pussy, panty dropping, pussy popping. Bullshit.
But we see that Peter narrowly survives the attempt on his life. Mm-hmm. He gets back to the shore and sees that Childress is working with the terrorists.
And they all have British accent. He's like, oh, really sorry about that. And like, you motherfucker. Yes.
So he actually gets a hold of one of the guns and he fires upon them. A
semi-automatic and just fires into Childress's arm till it's practically meat falling off the bone.
Yes. And for the rest of the movie, Childress has a dead arm. Like, it doesn't work anymore. He's left his mark on him.
Damn.
Months later, we jump ahead to Chicago, where we meet high school student Gillian Bellevere, I think is how you pronounce her last name. And she's slowly beginning to discover that she has some type of psychic ability.
Yeah.
Including telekinesis and extrasensory perception.
Yeah, because she's trying to answer like exam questions with her friend. They're in skimpy little bathing suits with a notebook practicing test answers, which I was like, this is so California.
Yeah, and yet it's Chicago.
Right?
So that's our first inclination. They're walking down the street, she's asking her questions, and this name pops into her head.
Yep.
And she's like, you said it, didn't you? And her friend's like, no, I didn't say it.
Oh, don't tell me answers, but it doesn't sound right. It was weird.
So that was like our first little hint. And then later on, we see her, she's kind of witnessing a class demonstration about psychic ability. And she volunteers to be like, to put it to the test herself. And turns out she's like much more powerful than the person doing the presentation.
Which is Harris, right? Which is the girlfriend that did the presentation.
I
thought it was the girlfriend that was doing the presentation.
I don't think it was the same girl. I think it was a different one.
It looked like it. But then again, all the blonde girls in this show look alike. Speaking of blonde girls, this was Daryl Hannah's debut movie. She plays one of the high school students.
Yeah, she's only in 1-2 scenes.
But she is... her face is unmistakable. This woman has not aged. She looks the same.
She has always looked the same, and like... it's surprising. I've seen this movie.
Kill Bill, any of her recent work. I mean, she still looks great.
I've seen this movie several times, and honestly, I never really picked up that it was Daryl Hannah.
You know why I picked up it's Daryl Hannah? Who in this house is obsessed with mermaids and has seen Splash several times?
Yeah, that explains it.
And loves Tom Hanks and has watched Tom Hanks movies several times. Yeah, that's why I went, is that my girl Daryl? That's Daryl!
So one thing we learn throughout this part of the movie is that the manifestations of her ability, when uncontrolled, they tend to harm people who are in physical contact with her or who provoke her.
Yeah.
And later, like throughout the movie, we see it in varying degrees, but like in this first scene, it's just she causes a nosebleed to a girl that's kind of bullying her.
Yeah.
After this, this whole thing really freaks her out, and she's afraid to be near anybody, and she really wants to find help. So she convinces her mom to let her attend the Paragon Institute.
Yep.
Which is a live-in research facility studying psychic powers in adolescence.
Yep.
Now, this is a story that... This is actually something that I noted that I think is worth mentioning. That this movie is a very slow build, but there's a lot of pieces moving around the board here. So this story is told through two different pathways, essentially. You have a story following Peter, which is like this more espionage type of story, like it's
action,
like action spy drama kind of thing. But then you're also getting this parallel story about a psychic girl coming into her abilities and
not learning that she can't trust anybody, learning that things aren't what they seem, kind of thing.
Yeah, and like these two stories just kind of like go at their own paces until they start to interweave.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really cool way to tell this. So, meanwhile, while she's getting set up at the Institute, we come back to Peter, who's basically tracked his son, who has basically tracked his son to Chicago. He's evaded Childress's agents, and he meets up with his girlfriend, Hester or Esther?
Not yet. There's a scene prior to this where he's running from his agents and he evades them by breaking into that couple's apartment with the grandmother.
Oh, yes.
Oh my god, this is the best part of the movie.
So that's something that's actually kind of interesting about this movie, and I did make note of the fact that this happens, but despite the fact that this is a pretty serious film.
Yeah, they put a lot of comedy.
There's a lot of comedic beats.
Yes.
Like, so you have this whole sequence where he breaks into this apartment where this older couple is living with their mother.
Mother, I think. Yeah, mother or mother-in-law or something like that, yeah.
And he basically holds them up. Like, he just
because they wouldn't stop, like, berating him and talking, and the grandmother and the mother-in-law was like, I don't even like them. And it was, they were so fucking funny.
Yeah.
She makes him, they find him clothes. He ties them up so they don't bitch. She makes him cookies. She wishes him well. She says, if you ever come back, come see me. I was just like, excuse me. I was just like, oh my god, this is so cute.
It's this amusing little thing. And then, like, another one that I noted later on is, like, he's being pursued by Childress's guys. He ends up taking care of them, but he has these two cops held up with him.
Oh, the fake cops. And he's like, oh, do you realize that this is a federal offense to intimidate cops? And they're like, yeah, okay, get in. Like, I think they were, like, security cops.
No, they were cops, but they were off duty.
Oh, okay. So, and the dude just bought this car.
Yeah. So there's a scene after they evade the goons, and he's kind of about to let them go, essentially. And they get out of the car, and he's like, can you believe it? There's no scratches on the car. And then Kirk Douglas gets out of the car, and he's like staring at them. And it just does this moment where they all look down and realize that Kirk Douglas's pants are around his ankles. He's just like... And like, it's just this little comedy moment.
I didn't understand that. Why are his pants around his ankles?
Because he had the thing tucked in there.
Oh, he had the pillow in there.
Yeah, so like it was like a disguise to make him look like a pudgy older guy.
Oh, he took the pillow out and it just...
So they didn't hold up anymore. It was just this funny little moment that, like, they didn't need to draw attention to. There's no need for it. But it was just there. Why not?
And then Kirk Douglas is like, you guys go on, you guys be good, like, do something, and he gives them like a couple of words of wisdom, and then drives the brand new car into the water.
For what reason? Like, the only reason I could think would be so it looked like he died, so he could get away.
I mean, okay, but I mean, he could have just left the car there and the two guys and tell him I'm dead. Like, he could have done that. This poor man just bought this car and he's just like, look.
He could have done it. He
didn't. why he's Kirk motherfucking panty dropping, car wrecking Douglas. He's gonna have so many names. So many.
So, yes, he tracks into Chicago, evades the agents. He meets up with his girlfriend or former girlfriend.
No, I think it is his girlfriend.
Was her name Hester or Esther?
I think it was Hester with an H.
Hester. Okay.
Yeah.
So
either way, Esther. Ooh.
She happens to be a nurse at Paragon.
Yes.
And she tells him all about Gillian.
Yep.
Because she's a new patient at the facility, and she's very obviously
strong.
a very strong psychokinetic.
Yeah.
Once he learns about Gillian, he immediately starts urging Hester that, like, we need her. We need her to help us
Get her
find
out of there. We need her, yeah.
Robin. And there's a lot of dancing about in this middle portion because we are jumping back and forth between him trying to get her to get Gillian out of there, and Gillian is slowly discovering that she has a connection to Robin. She learns about him through this encounter with the head of the institute.
Yep.
Where she, like, grabs his hand at one point and she sees a vision of Robin having an episode and falling out a window.
Yeah.
Or falling through a window, more precisely.
I think it was out like a second story window because she goes towards that window. It's on the second story.
Yeah.
And that's where they say he had an episode and he died.
Right. And there's a few scenes like this. So, like, during this scene, she grabs his hand and his wound from the glass starts bleeding.
Yep.
And that's where they discover that her ability causes people in her proximity and stuff to bleed, and some more severely than others.
Yeah.
So, like I said, it's a little muddled here because there's a lot of little bits of information coming at you.
Yeah.
And through one of these interactions that she has, she sees the day that Childress tried to kill.
Oh, she's talking to the Institute's, like, second in command, the woman there, and is, like, talking to her, like, do you want to talk about the event that happened last night? You know, the director's fine. I just want to talk to you about it. And, like, she gets psychically linked to Robin at that moment.
Yeah, as he's going through a test.
As they're making him watch the video that Childress shot of his father getting killed in the Middle East.
That's right, yeah.
And she's like trying to look around, and they're like, no, Robin, you have to look at the screen. You have to watch it. Like, you need to watch this. And I'm like, oh my God, this is fucking up both of them.
And this part was really cool because in this encounter, he actually also learns about her.
Yes.
Because I think he catches her in a reflection.
Yep.
And, like, somehow, because she's, like, almost present for him. So he learns that there's another psychokinetic as powerful as him.
Yep.
That could be a problem for him.
Okay, this is where I start to kind of see where, hot opinion, flash it off the screen, if you will. Robin's a little bitch.
Yes.
Robin feels like when he was in the Middle East and he got kidnapped, he was a normal, like, older teenager. Now it feels like he's regressed. He is a child.
I'm gonna make a comparison here that I fully agree with this comparison, but it is through no fault of the other performance that I'm going to compare to.
Okay.
He is Anakin Skywalker.
Oh.
And
are we talking like Lloyd Jake, or are we talking Hayden Christensen?
We're talking whiny Christensen, and this is no harsh feelings towards Hayden Christensen.
We're talking about Attack of the Clones, Christensen, aren't we?
We're talking about the performance of that, like, whining, like, they're never gonna trust me.
But I want to do this.
I'm supposed to be the chosen one. That whole thing.
And I don't feel like this is the actor's fault.
No.
But I also feel like Brian DePalma, good guy as he is, he's still alive. This is just my observation, no offense, is a little sexist and puts a lot more performance on Gillian. And makes her really push forward. And where he's like, well, you're a secondary character, so you don't matter. No, the two of them should have had a lot more of a link, and he should have displayed a lot more like, who are you? Kind of like Kylo Ren when he and Rey get connected by the Force. That's where it should have gone, where he was asking like, who are you? What are you doing? Why are you here? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Now, of course, like, we don't have the prequels or the new ones to, go off of this. This is 78, but I hated Robin's character. At the point where he was whining the first time, I was like, Peter, you don't need him. Just take Gillian, head off to the sunset. She can be your new daughter. Marry her mom. I don't know. Like, just let Robin go. To
be fair, it makes, you're supposed to not like him. Like, the whole point is that he's been brainwashed by Childress, essentially, over this, however long it's been.
I feel like 6 months to a year.
Yeah. Into becoming, like, a bad person.
He's a machine. Basically, all the descriptor I read on IMDb, and I was doing a little research, they want to turn him into a machine for the government. That's all. And you lose who you are in that point. But, like, it got me to the point where we get to the amusement park scene where I'm like, he's throwing a 5-year-old tantrum.
Exactly.
That's it. That's all. He's like if they gave Firestarter Drew Barrymore and told her to act like a act your age in this movie. Don't try and act like an... I know from her performance in that movie, I've never seen it, but she was an incredible actress at that point. Fucking 8 years old and she killed that movie.
Yeah.
That's why Drew Barrymore is fucking amazing. But... like, Robin throughout the whole thing, I'm like, oh no, Robin. Oh no, Robin. Oh no, Robin. Oh no. Oh darn. That's how I felt.
Yeah. So something else I would like to note before we continue on here is that so far, each of the telekinetic scenes, each of the moments where Gillian has seen something from the past or like connected with someone, they're all presented very differently. And I think that is a really, really cool element that Brian DePalma plays with. So like, it's never cut and dry. You never know what you're gonna expect.
Yeah.
So like the first sequence where she grabs the head of the Institute's hand and she has the vision of what happened to Robin. It's shot with this, like, she's filmed what looks like in front of like a rear projection of the event happening.
Yeah.
And she's kind of like seeing it almost through a fly on the wall perspective. The next time it happens, when she is actually connected to Robin, she is seeing through his eyes.
Yeah.
Which is why the reflection moment happens, because she looks down into the table and sees him looking back at her, and he sees her.
Yep.
Which I thought that was so fucking cool, because it's like before she's seeing something that happened, now she's seeing what he is seeing.
Through the eyes, yeah.
And that, like, he plays a lot with this.
Yeah.
Which is not something most people would have done. Most people would have probably just made it exactly the same every fucking time, and there would be no variety to it.
Yeah, like in Eyes of Laura Mars, like, it's very different how it's almost portrayed as like a fuzzy, like, television movie. Like, it's very, like, unclear at times until it gets stronger where it actually looks like a clear picture.
Right. In that film's defense, she's always seeing through the killer's eyes.
Yes.
So, like, this one, it does something different if she's seeing an event that happened rather than the moment.
It's a different perspective depending on what type of event she's seeing, or or the psychic ability of the event.
Right. Because actually, during the moment where with the train set thing, where she really discovers her power, she gets a flash of the death of a character we meet later on.
What character was that?
It was the lady that Robin is seeing.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah.
It's like a quick glimpse of her death.
You mean the other, therapist that he was seeing at the institution?
Yeah. But that was like literally just like a frame from the movie later on.
Yeah.
So it's like she saw that as a third party.
I didn't even catch that.
It's like
I know it happened
really
in the
quick.
beginning, but I didn't catch it at the end because let me tell you, that scene. Woo!
Oh yeah, that ending is fucking sick.
Oh my god.
But I digress. So, long story short, Hester ends up deciding to help Peter get her out of the Institute.
Yep.
And they do so in a kind of really cool way because it doesn't seem like what it is when you're first watching it.
It reminds me of a Benny Hill skit.
Yeah, like it seems like she's like
a little
fumbling.
combobulated and fumbly and weird.
Like she's fumbling trying to get her out of there. So it's like you think she's fucking it up. And then Gillian pulls this whole thing where she just takes off.
She just fucking goes, man. She bullets out of there.
As it's all happening, you kind of piece together, it's like, oh, they're doing it so she's not implicated in helping her escape. And this was all kind of pre-planned out. And it's a really cool escape sequence. I really enjoy it. Unfortunately, it results in Hester's death.
And Peter goes, they killed her. No. You shot the dude in the head who died and ran into her.
By the way, motherfucking Deadeye.
Point blank through a windshield in between his eyes.
And they do this incredible shot where it's like all in slow-mo. The camera's panning to the front of the gun.
Oh my God.
And he fires and just right between the eyes nails the guy driving.
And when he goes, they killed Hester. And I'm like, no. I'm sorry, sweetie. You killed him. He lost control at full speed. Hester stopped in the middle of the road to try and get her attention, and he hit her. Yes, Hester died during the plan.
Yes.
If you didn't shoot him in the head, he wouldn't have lost control. It wouldn't have hit Hester.
But they also would have caught Gillian.
Yes. So, unfortunately, Hester was just an unfortunate product of the plan.
It was collateral damage.
She was. And sometimes bitches be collateral damage.
So, Peter gets her out of there, and they have this nice moment on the bus where they're
reminiscing about Robin. She asks about him, and he tells them stories.
Because
it's cute.
At this point, she's developing a connection to Robin.
I don't know if it's feelings, but she feels like, oh, someone like me. Maybe there's a friendship. Maybe we can
help them.
Yes, maybe we can help each other.
And Peter ends up telling her all about Paragon and how the director is cooperating with PSI, which is like a covert agency led by Childress. And what they essentially do is they kidnap psychic children to weaponize their powers for the American government. And they have managed to control psychics by brainwashing them and eliminating their families.
So they kidnap Robin, and they've been trying to eliminate Peter the entire time. Can you imagine being a year on the run while trying to find your children?
Can you imagine trying to hunt down and kill Kirk motherfucking panty dropping Douglas?
You missed one.
What did I miss? Deadeye motherfucking?
Oh no, it's Kirk motherfucking panty dropping. Oh no. Pussy popping.
Pussy popping. There's too many names.
Deadeye Douglas.
Anyway.
It's going to be on a t-shirt. We're going to make a t-shirt. People are going to be like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, have you watched our podcast? Have you listened to our podcast? They have this beautiful scene on the bus, and then he abandons her and makes her take a bus to Seattle.
He tries to,
best.
While she's asleep, leave her on the bus, send her off to Seattle so that she won't get hurt in the process, because he's got the information he needs. She ends up waking up and seeing that he's leaving her there.
The damsel in distress syndrome. Like, her running with her arms waving.
But you know what?
I'm like, oh God, it's painful.
No, I love it.
What?
I love it because you can tell throughout every fucking scene of this movie that Amy Irving is giving her fucking all to this performance.
Speaking of that performance, little side note, I found a fact out.
Oh boy.
Amy Irving dated Steven Spielberg from 76 to 80.
Okay.
She was the one that was supposed to play Maria Blackwood. She was supposed to play the female lead in Indiana Jones.
Oh, shit.
Marion Ravenwood.
Yeah.
She was supposed to, but because her and Steven broke up, the role went to who we know.
I always forget her name.
I don't remember her name, but God, I have never seen the first two Indiana Jones. The third one is my Indiana Jones. This first one I saw, that's my Indiana Jones. The younger ones, Harrison Ford, older, just unctuous, sexy with Sean Connery in his 60s. Ooh, both those men.
So you just love that.
Panty dropping.
That older man.
I love it. I can't wait till you're gray and just little wrinkles, little white in your...
So Kirk Douglas must have just had you going
No,
this whole
actually,
movie.
Kirk Douglas and Michael Douglas, I feel nothing. But Michael Douglas definitely took the motherfucking panty-droppy pussy-poppin' to the next level when he married Catherine Zeta-Jones. Come on, she's fucking hot.
No, I'm not talking about that. Fuck Michael Douglas, all right? Kirk Douglas is the man.
What's wrong with Michael Douglas? He is the spawn of Kirk. We can't have Kirk, we got Michael.
He will never be his father. Never.
Wow. Do you have dad issues?
No. Kirk Douglas is just fucking awesome.
We need to have a list of daddies that are amazing on this podcast.
Kirk Douglas is up there with fucking Cameron Mitchell, all right?
Oh, look, we need a picture of Cameron Mitchell in this house that we can worship.
We need a church
patron saint.
He's the patron saint of best of the worst.
Patron saint of films and VHSs.
We should just get framed black and white photos of all of the patron saints of films that we absolutely love. So it'll be like, so far it'll be like Kirk Douglas, Cameron Mitchell, fucking
Tom Atkins.
I might even throw Robert Ginty in there.
Wow, yeah, the Ginty. We need Ginty. Who else? Christopher Lee. Christopher Lee's got to be on there. Yep. Vincent Price. I will praise that man.
Oh, yeah.
All hail Vincent Price, father of darkness. The father of Ginty.
The father of Ginty.
The father of Gintiness. We are going on a Red Letter Media tangent right now.
Trying to get back on track here.
Train tracks?
We do learn that as Gillian's psychic powers are growing, she's beginning to experience visions of, like, the Institute abusing Robin, and he, like, as we saw, like, his unsuccessful escape, and then she eventually connects to him telepathically.
So before we conclude the movie, because we're getting pretty close, there is a scene where I don't know how it happens, but Robin's girlfriend, who was at the Institute with him, decides to take him out for a day, and they end up in an amusement park.
Yes.
And something doesn't go his way, and he has a tantrum.
So he like wins her a bear, it looks like, and then he goes to find her and sees that she's chatting with two of her colleagues. And he immediately just assumes, like...
He says, what, are you gonna fuck one of them? And it's like, whoa!
Yeah, he just flies off the fucking handle.
It's a very childlike reaction to what's happening. But he gets pissy, and he gets upset, and he starts walking away. And as he's walking, all the lights on the rides are exploding. And you're like, uh-oh. And the veins. I do appreciate Brian DePalma having the special effects of the two veins in his forehead.
I actually I think the special effects, the very minimal they do on the actual actors, they're so well done, you can barely tell that they're there.
The only ones you can tell are when the eyes go blue. But obviously that's a tougher special effect.
Not even an optical effect.
It's like a layered effect.
It's like an in-post effect.
Yeah. But we get to the point where we make it a point to see that these people that are dressed the same as the terrorists were in the beginning of the film are, you know, on this one ride that's just spinning and everybody's having fun and it's great. And he gets so angry and he's staring at this ride that the ride breaks. One of the cars goes through a window and I'm pretty sure a bunch of people got killed.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God. But he just has He's gone from a dude that was like, oh my God, my dad, oh my God, to a cold-blooded killing machine. And it's like, at this point, now that we're describing the end of the movie, I'm like, is there any saving Robin?
I don't think there was, which is why the end of the movie is what it is. But we're getting there.
We'll get back to the film, though.
So Gillian helps Peter figure out where Robin is, and they end up heading to infiltrate the mansion.
Alone with no weapons.
Yes. Robin senses her presence there.
And immediately thinks he's being replaced.
Yeah, he knows that she's as powerful as him, if not more. And immediately just starts jumping to conclusions that they're going to kill him and that they're going to replace him with her because she's better.
Yeah.
And
then ensues the most epic death. No, the second most epic death.
Yeah, so he essentially snaps, and what he does is he telekinetically lifts Susan, the lady's name.
Susan.
He lifts her into the air, and
essentially laundromat spins all of her blood out of her.
Yeah, so the way this is happening is when you use telekinesis on somebody in this film, they start to have like nosebleeds and shit like that. They start to bleed from their orifices. So he does this to her, and he starts spinning her around in the air, and like you said, just washing machines her to death.
Literally, like, the blood is just coming out of her like she's oscillating. And it's covering the entire room and him in blood.
Yes.
And then we see the scene that Gillian saw when she was playing with the train. Just Susan dead.
Yeah, momentarily,
like,
yes. So as this is happening, Gillian has a reaction to this moment because she is still linked with Robin.
And she's screaming.
And she starts screaming, you're hurting her, you're hurting her, which alerts all the guards.
Yep.
The guards end up chasing them down, capturing the both of them, and they're brought into Childress.
Yep.
And there's this small moment where this is where Childress and Peter see each other again for the first time, and Peter attacks him.
Oh my God. He was going to choke that bitch out right there, and I was like, get him! Bite his head off!
And all he wants to know is where his son is.
Where is Peter? I mean, where's Peter,
Robin?
Paul, and Mary? Where is Robin?
And then
it's like, fine, I'll take you to him.
Well, Gillian has like another moment where she realizes that that Robin's killed Susan.
Yep.
So she runs outside, and they find two of the guards dead.
Yeah, because he threw him out the window. Yeah.
And so Childress just says, all right, you want your son? Go
ahead,
get him.
Go find him.
So Peter goes up and confronts Robin, who is now full-blown schizoid.
Yep.
Robin furiously attacks him, and Robin throws him out the window, and they
both go out.
They both go out the window, and Robin is like falls unconscious, but Peter catches him, and they're hanging off the roof. And he's trying to pull Robin up, and Robin starts to come to, and Robin is at first like, oh God, he's trying to save himself. So he's climbing up his dad's arm, but rather than getting himself up, he chooses to grab his father's face.
His father's face up.
So Peter has no choice.
Robin is absolutely gone at that point.
He sees that his son is not his son anymore, and he just lets him go. And Robin falls to the ground, and Peter's absolutely distraught at this moment. There is a small moment here where
Gillian goes over to Robin.
Goes up to Robin, and she kind of cradles him, and she's trying to like get him to wake up.
Stay here, yeah.
And he opens his eyes for a brief moment, and as they lock eyes, both their eyes start to go blue. And my assumption is that this is not something somebody can see. It's just a visualization for us.
It's between the two of them, yeah.
So it's like this moment of connection, and then Robin dies.
Because he took all of that power that he learned and gave it to her. Because she is still of the right mind and can control it.
Yes. And Peter is so distraught at this moment that he's worked this hard to get to his son, and his son is gone, and he just throws himself off the roof.
Hester's dead, his son's dead, he has nothing to live. Honestly, and he just
He dies.
Yep.
He kills himself.
And then it hard cuts, literally.
It literally hard cuts to the next morning, and Gillian wakes up in this mansion.
Yeah.
And she's there with Childress, and Childress is trying to start manipulating her. He's
like, you saw what he did. He threw his own son off the roof. Like, how is that a good person? Stay here.
It's like, I can help you. I can be more of a father to you than you've ever had. And it's this weird, awkward moment. And we get kind of faked out here because she starts to break down, and she curls into his arms, and she even kisses him.
Right on the eye.
On the eye. But we quickly learn that it's all a ruse.
By kissing his eye, she activates her power, and literally, like, his eyes go bloodshot and he can't see anymore.
Yes. She fully embraces her psychic abilities at this moment, and she avenges both of their deaths by unleashing the full force of her power on him and blowing him the fuck up.
Exploding him from the inside out. Now, this is not a Scanner's explosion, but goddamn, it was pretty good. And Brian DePalma had how many angles?
There was like 14 angles of this explosion.
Oh my god! And it was like, I knew it was fake. I knew it was a dummy, but good lord, was it beautiful.
It looks so good.
Oh my god, and the head. Just the head out of focus bouncing on the floor. Oh!
That's noteworthy. This is not a head explosion. This is a
chest cavity burst. Boom!
Like, every bit goes everywhere. Like, it is amazing.
Imagine somebody swallowing a grenade and it's in your belly and it just goes boom.
That's what this looks like.
That's what it did. And I was like, damn, do not piss off Carrie 2.0.
Now you know why I love this fucking movie.
Damn! This starts off as like, oh, it's like a Hallmark special. Oh, we're gonna save a kid. And then turns into Scanner's Light.
It's slow paced, but when it pays off, it pays off.
It pays off well. It does. I want to know, that death made me happy, but I still am like, what happened to Gillian? Can she go back to be a normal teenager? Is she okay? Can she control it to the point where she can like, don't worry, Mom, you can hug me again? Because she wouldn't let her mom go near her because she was terrified to hurt her.
I do think after this point, like, obviously we're just speculating, but I think after this point, she had more control. I don't think she'll ever have a normal life.
No, she's definitely, I think she's going to be on the run for the rest of her life. But they made mention that her mother is extremely rich and powerful.
Yes.
And they have very powerful friends. So that was, somebody was talking to Childress and be like, this is not a good idea. We don't want her. Doesn't matter how powerful she is. Her mother has friends in high places. We will not get away with this.
Yeah.
So I think that's where Gillian kind of, I think she'll be okay, but she ain't going to high school because that girl makes fun of her once and she's going to get blown up from the inside out. Oh my God. And then like in the beginning, in that scene, she was like, oh, I'll tell you something that no one else knows. You're pregnant. And the girl wanted to fucking slaughter her. And I'm sitting there going, oh, really? Don't piss her off now.
Well, at that point, luckily she wasn't fully tapped in. So she probably could have wrecked her.
Can you imagine the sickest thing you can think of if this movie was remade? I'm gonna go to hell for saying this. That she blew up the baby from the inside.
Oh, dude, that'd be boss.
That would be sick.
That'd be so sick.
In several ways. Can you imagine a telekinetic death like that where a woman is like 8 months pregnant? It's like, I know how to torture you. You're still alive, but they explode the baby.
You're giving me ideas.
I hope so. We do not condone violence on this podcast, but if it is in film form, give it to us. Give me.
All right. Closing questions?
Oh, God, yeah.
Did you have any favorites?
So, during the scene with the family that he broke into the house with, there's a banter between the husband and wife before the older lady comes out and says, you have to come wipe me, which was funny. The lady goes, the whole world is dried up at the tit, meaning the whole world is just shit. And I was like, I am using this phrase in my everyday life. The world's dried up on the tit. I'm sorry, the whole world's dried up on the tit. That whole scene too, where she's just like, I don't even like him anyways. I'm gonna leave him tied up for a couple more hours. Just let him be there. I want to be that old lady in torturing people by come wipe me, come take care of me. And then when this situation presents itself, fuck you. You want to treat me bad? You can stay tied up. I'm going to go enjoy myself. See ya. That old lady was the second best thing about this movie. The first best thing was that fucking explosion. Didn't see it coming. Didn't. And then when he starts doing the convulsing, I'm like, is she gonna scanners him? Is she gonna scanners him? Boom.
In some ways better.
Oh my god. No, that scene in Scanners, I've seen it so many times. I don't know the context of Scanners. It's sitting right fucking there. And I still think it's better. But this was really good. What about you?
Well, it's tough for me because I love this whole fucking movie.
The whole movie's your favorite.
Obviously, I love the fucking ending explosion. I love the sequence with Susan. I love the escape scene from Paragon. I love all of that. I did write down probably my favorite line.
Okay.
Which it happens during the scene where he is still with those two off-duty cops.
Oh god, yep.
And before he leaves them, he says, "Ask Childress if it was worth it. What happened to his arm?" So they say, What happened to his arm?" He says, "I killed it with a machine gun." Just the way he delivers that line, it brought a smile to my face.
You're at that point, Joan Crawford going, "Don't fuck with me, fellas." It's so good. So good.
Would you make this today?
No, not this particular movie. Movies that are this good, no, this one's pretty decent. I wish that maybe it would get a Vinegar Syndrome or an Arrow Video re-release, because this is now knowing that they put it in the selects, 20th Century Fox put it in selects for $10. That's a fucking insult to this film.
It really is.
Such an insult. Re-release this one. It's so good. Eyes of Laura Mars got a Blu-ray release.
It did.
This needs to get a Blu-ray release. 100%.
I think this had one at one point, but it's so out of print now. It's expensive.
Yeah. How much was it when you looked it up?
It was over $100. It's crazy.
Someday we'll have burnable money to do that.
But there is a UK release that's a lot cheaper. It's more affordable.
And I have a I have a very unlocked Blu-ray player. I made sure to learn how to unlock that shit very early in my life.
I personally don't think that this should be remade.
No.
I mean, like anything else, I think you could do it as a series, an
even a limited series. This was a slow burn.
There's a slow burn, but I think there's enough meat in this story that they don't touch on.
Get Peter's background, get Childress's background, find out what else happened to Robin,
learn
get more about
the characters.
Gillian. But
there's enough meat on the bone to where you could do it. And if they just turned around and said, "Hey, we're gonna remake The Fury," that's how I would want to see it done. That way, it's just, all right, give us more, explore it more.
Yeah.
But as a film, no, I love this movie the way it is.
Yeah,
you're never gonna get anybody as good as Kirk motherfucking Douglas.
No, all of them.
I can't do all of it.
Kirk motherfucking panty dropping, pussy popping, dead-eyed Douglas.
Fuck.
That man's rolling in his grave going, "Give me more insults here, woman."
They're not insults, they're praises.
We are praising your name. Oh, Kirk Douglas.
Saint Douglas.
Saint Douglas. Patron saint of dead eyes.
Would you call this mainstream exploitation or other?
I would say for when it came out, other, mainstream. Now it's just other. It's on the precipice of being mainstream other from the 70s, but now this is just another.
I actually somewhat lean into exploitation on this.
Oh, go
a little.
on.
Not in the sense of gratuitous nudity and extreme violence, but
it wasn't what people were asking for out of the movie.
It does do a lot with a very little.
It does.
And I wouldn't call it exploitation, honestly. It's slightly exploitation.
Yeah.
But it's much more other. I think, I don't know, it's got enough elements in there to where it's I could imagine watching this in a grindhouse theater.
This would be big in a grindhouse. Yeah.
All right. Do you have anything else you want to say about The Fury?
No, this definitely will make it into a... Shawn, you want to rewatch The Fury? This will definitely be a rewatch.
I'm so happy to hear you say that.
But I'm getting high as a kite.
Might be even better that time.
Oh my god, it might. But I don't know. Like, this one was really good. Like, I've never really seen a lot of Kirk Douglas movies. So going into this, I was like, Kirk Douglas, isn't he the old dude? Oh, by the way, he was 62 when he filmed this.
Fucking Christ.
62. Him, Harrison Ford, Sean Connery, all those men had fucking work ethics.
62, getting all the bitches.
Getting laid.
Fucking slaying what's her nuts, Hester.
Popping that pussy.
Popping that pussy.
It's weird when you say don't do it. Because I say it because I'm a RuPaul Drag Race fan. Just hearing you say it, I'm like, this feels weird.
I've already said this is one of my favorite telekinetic films. This is such a good fucking movie. Like, it's a Brian DePalma movie. You really can't go wrong with Brian DePalma.
First ever movie I've ever seen from this man. I like what I'm watching. Now I gotta watch his other shit.
He's very stylistic, and
I like giallo films. I mean, how much more stylistic can you get?
Oh, you can get way more stylistic.
Yeah,
than giallo.
I've never watched, like, what is it? Like the Budapest Hotel or the Laurel Tenenbaums, whoever that director is.
Wes Anderson.
Wes Anderson is a style director. You have to like
his style.
Yeah.
Specifically his style.
But I'm like, the Grand Budapest Hotel, when I saw the trailer for that, I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Arty farty.
Artsy fartsy.
Yeah, I highly recommend this. Like,
100%. God, watch this.
Like,
it's so good.
If you like scanners, if you like telepathy, if you like
things blowing up,
if you like Stranger Things,
yes,
go back and start exploring some of the shit that inspired it.
Yes, this is definitely an inspiration for Stranger Things.
Absolutely.
Definitely. I would love to ask the Duffer Brothers, The Fury, thoughts, and hear them go, oh yeah. Like, it would be beautiful.
But I think that brings this discussion on The Fury to an end.
Ka-chang.
Don't go anywhere just yet. Please stay tuned for the coming attractions.
At first, it was all so unbelievable. Mike Dexter wanted to date me. I know why I started dating him. I just don't know why I did it for so long.
Well, he is the most dope guy in school. Yeah, and school's over.
His party tonight? Amanda suddenly being single? It's fate. Fate has opened me a window. Yo, I got to have sex tonight. It took me all day, but I narrowed it down to a list of 10 very lucky finalists. You know what I'm saying? Do you think there'll be any girls there? Are you kidding me? People may even be having sex tonight. Get that back away! Huntington Hillside, kiss my ass! Have you seen Amanda Beckett? Yeah, man, I just saw her in there. I'm thinking about asking her out, boy. Oh, God, you're a hottie. Get that back away!
I filled this with 7 bottles of vodka last September. It's been in my freezer for...
All right, so check it. It's time to get busy.
Who does he think he is? Brad Pitt?
And you're like Gwyneth.
But with bigger boobs.
Oh, totally bigger boobs.
I can't feel my legs. I can't feel my legs!
Columbia Pictures presents an event 18 years in the making. When you find out who your friends really are.
I don't think she's prettier than Gwyneth. Not even.
What your future really holds.
I am going to have sex with someone at this party.
And how one night can change your life.
I don't know about you, but I really believe that there's one person out there. And for me, it's gotta be Amanda.
There's a mirror right there. Why don't you take a look, okay? You're white. How's it gonna be when you're so
Guys like us, we are a dime a dozen.
There is fate, but it only takes you so far because once you're there, it's up to you to make it happen.
Amanda?
Can't hardly wait.
Wishing has a winning play. Huntington, hey!
Hey, hey there, Shawn Diesel. Schwinn Diesel! That's so much better.
God, I can't hardly wait for next week to be over.
Oh, that's so good! Did you enjoy high school? In any form?
No! It was shit-tastic.
This movie came out when I was a freshman, like either I was in middle school or a freshman in high school, if I remember. And I watched this and I was like, God, I want to be Jennifer Love Huge Tits. I wanted to be her. I wanted that popularity, the coolness. I love that. I have not watched this movie in decades. Why do you think I chose this?
Revisit the past.
Because I just had my baby sister visiting. She's 17 years old. Hi, Abigail, if you listen to this. Probably not. But
she's too cool for this fucking show.
This is mid. The show's mid for her. We learn Gen Z slang
Abby,
and we don't
I hope
understand
you listen
it.
to this someday. Fuck you, all right? Fuck you.
But hearing her talk about like high school and all this stuff, and I'm like, my high school experience is so different from the Gen Z experience because we are elder millennials. Like we're the dying, like not dying, but you know what I mean.
Old decrepit fucks.
We're old decrepit. We're
watching VHS tapes on the weekends,
buying CDs and reading books. You know, like. My form of fun is putting my phone on the charger and not looking at it. My fun is taking my Polaroid camera to parties and taking memories. And this movie just has so many memories for me when I was younger that I'm like, this definitely feels like a movie that would be played in a grindhouse now. Because it's so stupid.
I don't know about a grindhouse,
but like, it's so stupid. Like, I feel like the culture of the Gen Z is making fun of us millennials. This movie, She's All That, 10 Things I Hate About You, all of those bullshit films, even, like, Not Another Teen Movie, Chris Evans' debut.
Yeah.
Like, those movies are stupid to the Gen Z. They don't understand. But for us, it's like, I remember this.
They were made for a very specific generation at a very specific time.
Yeah, us. You know, where Seth Green can get away with whatever fucking accent he did in this film. Oh, God.
That's the thing about this one. This is a lot of fresh faces.
All-star cast. Now it's an all-star cast, but it was all fresh faces.
Yeah, a lot of people that, like, so, like, for example, Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Yep.
This is not the Jennifer Love Hewitt that I grew up knowing.
No, you grew up with Scream Queen Jennifer Love Hewitt.
I grew up with I Know What You Did Last Summer, Jennifer Love Hewitt.
This was my Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Yeah, this is very different for... I've seen this movie before, obviously, but...
Oh, yeah.
Like...
If you're a millennial and you haven't seen this movie,
not,
what the fuck?
It's not, I don't know, like, and even Seth Green, like, I grew up with him in
Buffy.
Austin Powers, Buffy, like, things like that.
This is very different from Oz and Buffy.
Yeah.
The main guy ended up being a really big movie star for a while. And he's kind of made a resurgence, like, in the last, like, maybe 5 or 10 years. So when I saw him, I was like, oh my God, he was in I Can't Hardly Wait. And like, there's a bunch of other stars in it that you're like, oh wait, it's that person. And it's fucking hilarious to look back and look at this because American Pie had just come out. This came out.
Yep.
Like, and now being, you know, this movie's 20 something years old. It's how we look at this movie, how our parents' generation looked at Grease, American Graffiti, like all of those crazy ass movies about teenage stuff. You know, and now they've got all of these crazy new teenage movies that are coming out. They have the series Euphoria. Have you ever heard anything about Euphoria?
Not specifically, but I know it's like a big hit.
It is fucked up. Gen Zs are fucked up. Their humor is so different from ours. I've watched
it's a Gen Z show?
Oh, yeah. Those kids are in, like, and Zendaya's in it.
Yeah,
like,
that I know.
She's fucking, that girl's fucking everywhere. You can't turn around without hearing or seeing her. For good reason. She's fucking incredible.
Yeah.
But, like, that's why I chose this. I really want to I want to relive the past because, you know, we're both, like, you're in your mid-30s. I am in my late 30s, and I found out that psychologists say that you're in middle age at 35. So I'm a middle-aged fuck now. I want to relive the quote-unquote shitty glory days.
Fuck psychologists, all right?
Look, I have to go to a psychologist this year.
Yeah, well.
Because my head ain't right.
None of our heads are right, it's fine. But I think that's going to bring this episode to an end. If you want to keep up on everything that we're doing, follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Grindhouse Podcast. We're on Twitter at GrindhouseCast. You can find us over on Discord, where you can chat with Leah about this film or any of the films that we've previously covered. Or you can maybe suggest us some movies.
Oh, God.
Let us know some of the stuff you'd like us to cover, because we may have this year planned out, but there are many years to follow.
We're doing this till we die, kids.
All the links for everything are going to be down in the show notes. Listen to us first thing every Monday morning. Give us a rating on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, or wherever you get your morning fix. If you like what we're doing and you want to help support this show, you can subscribe to us on Patreon or maybe directly through Acast, where you can get yourself access to ad-free listening or unlock some fun exclusive bonus content that we are slowly putting out for our supporters.
Support us, please.
We could always use your help.
Please.
Honestly, anything is appreciated.
Just listening makes us happy.
We really just like doing this show.
Yes. We enjoy this so much.
Until next week, I'm Shawn.
I'm Leah.
Thanks for listening, and keep watching.
And Kirk Douglas, if you're out there, keep on dropping those panties. What? He hates me.
He's dead.
In this film, it is definitely not recommended for the squeamish.